Namaste. Yuyam katham stha. Yushmakam Sanskritadhyayanam katham chalati. Yushmabhi saha Sanskrita adhyayanam or Sanskritadhyayanam kritva mama mahan santoshaha bhavati. Aham asham karomi yat yushmasu itopi sanskritanuragaha bhavati. So namaste, and how are all of you? I hope that your study of Sanskrit, or rather how is your study of Sanskrit proceeding? It gives me great pleasure to be doing the study with you, and I hope that with the study there is more and more of appreciation and love for Sanskrit that is growing in you. Astu. So with these words, we have been looking at the dual forms of the second person plural in our previous session. In this session, but we couldn't complete it. So in this session, the lecture number 12, we will do an introduction of the second person pronoun in the dual form, the part 2 of that. And this particular lesson will comprise of the introduction and practice of more of the Yushmat or you pronoun in the Dvivachanam forms. We'll do a revision of Dhatu Rupa, and of course there is a focus on the building of vocabulary, and wherever required I will be introducing certain Sandhi rules to you as and when they appear. So let's do a quick revision of what we have looked at thus far in the previous lesson. So we had Yuvam, so we were looking at the dual forms. So Yuvam, the two of you. So Yuvam sthaha. Yuvam kutra sthaha. Yuvam Sanskrita varge sthaha. Okay, so Yuvam sthaha. Next, I am seeing the two of you will become Aham Yuvam pashyami. Say that. Aham Yuvam pashyami. I speak Sanskrit with you. Aham Yuvam Sanskritam vadami. Aham Yuvam Sanskritam vadami. I speak Sanskrit to you. So next one, I go with you to school, with the two of you. Aham Yuvabhyam Vidyalayam gachami. Again, Aham Yuvabhyam Vidyalayam gachami. Alright, so we've looked at the three cases thus far, and as you can see on the board and we've already on the screen, and we've already done that before also with the color scheme, you know that the third, fourth and fifth cases will get the same word, and then the sixth and seventh have the same forms. So let's do a little practice around that today. So abhyasaha or practice, tarhi militva abhyasam kurmaha. So here we see that you have tvaya, tubhyam and tvat, and all of them, that's the singular form of the second person pronoun, and in the dual all three of them get the yuvabhyam. But what you notice in particular is that for the tubhyam here, for the fourth case, it has also this extra option of the te, and in the similarly when you do the dual case in the dative, you have the option of the vam. Okay, just keep that as an alternative possibility. Tarhi atra vayam militva abhyasam karishyamaha. We will do this practice together, and like you have already been following me, what we do to simplify it is we take the simple singular of the third person, check all their forms, and then do a study of the new forms in this table. Tarhi saha tubhyam or te vastrani. I will stick to this one because in the previous lesson we've done a lot of practice with vastram. So we'll do vastrani. So saha, follow the cursor here. Okay, saha tubhyam or te vastrani prayachati. Prayachati, to give, and therefore the dative. Next, so he's giving one person. Now we want to give two people. So, saha yuvabhyam or vam vastrani prayachati. What I would propose you do is that you say it once with the yuvabhyam and then you say it once with the vam, so that you have a correct wiring with both these options in your mind. Tari saha vam vastrani prayachati. Uttamam. And then for the plural, saha yushmabhyam or vaha vastrani prayachati. Uttamam. Let's do the second one, but here we'll do it with the plural one for the third person. And we know that when we are marking it like that, we also include the second person formal, which is bhavan or bhavati. And in the case of the plural, it will be bhavantaha or bhavatyaha. Uttamam. So, te tubhyam, so they to you, vastrani pradadati, so saha pradadati, te tubhyam vastrani pradadati. So would you like to replace vastrani with something else? Okay, so let's use pushpani. So just for our own thing, we'll put pushpani here, okay? Or let's say you can even do madhurani. That's sweets. Everybody likes some good sweets. Madhurani. So both of those options come in here, and I'm hoping that you're already a little more familiar with the Devanagari script. So just to tell you, Pushpani and Madhurani. Astu. So let's do that. Te tubhyam madhurani pradadati, means gives you, pradadati. Saha tubhyam madhuram pradadati, open your mouth nice and wide, and te tubhyam madhurani pradadati. Uttamam. Now let's give two people. So, te yuvabhyam or vam madhurani pradadati. Uttamam. And finally, to many people, te yushmabhyam madhurani pradadati. Uttamam. Let's move on to the next or the first person as the subject. So it is aham tubhyam pushpani. So we'll take the pushpani here. Okay. So aham tubhyam pushpani pradadami. Uttamam. Next, give two people. Aham yuvabhyam pushpani pradadami. So the mind, I am repeating this often so that it gets correctly wired in your minds, and what you need to remember is always who is the subject. The verb will do an accord with that, no matter what the numbers are in the middle. So for example, when we are saying aham, the verb will necessarily get pradadami. Don't allow yourselves to get confused with the number of people you're giving it to, because you can be giving it to a single person, to two people, or to many people. But because we also have the dual case and the plural, you have to keep that in mind as you are formulating your sentence. So, aham tubhyam, sorry, one person, tubhyam pushpani pradadami, aham yuvabhyam pushpani pradadami, and aham yushmabhyam or vaha pushpani pradadami. Now let's do the subject as in the dual case in the first person. So we have avam, the two of us, tubhyam pushpani pradadvaha. Okay, so dadati really does a little different things from what we have been familiar with in terms of conjugation. So pradadami becomes pradadvaha. Avam yuvabhyam. So two of us give the two of you. Or vam pushpani pradadvaha. And finally, avam yushmabhyam, too many of you, pushpani pradadvaha. So dual subject, dual conjugation for the verb. Now let's do it for the plural. Vayam tubhyam pushpani pradadmaha. Next, vayam yuvabhyam pushpani pradadmaha. Finally, vayam yushmabhyam pushpani pradadmaha. Okay, so follow the cursor, then it's easier for you to stay in track with what is being said here. Uttamam. So we've looked at the cases for, we've looked at the different forms of the second person here in the dative, but what we, and also the dadati verb, what happens to the dadati verb in the conjugation with the dual for the first person. And now what we'll also do is Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati. We'll bring an interesting book. So Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati. So Kaha Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati. And here it's not just about Kaha Ruchiram Pustakam. If I asked you that question, you would say Saha Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati. And then my question would be that Kabhyam. So for whom? Kabhyam Ruchiram Pustakam Anayati. For whom? For which two people? And the answer would be Yuvabhyam. If I said Kasmai Ruchiram Pustakam Anayati, the answer would be in Tubhyam Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati in the future. If it is for two people, Yuvabhyam Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati. And for many people, so that will be, for whom in the plural will be Yushmabhyam Ruchiram Pustakam Aneshyati. Uttamam. Let's move on. So in this one we have taken the verb rochate and we've already done that before, but we'll do it with the subject, in a sense subject in this case, but we'll do it with the forms of the second person. So Tubhyam or te Vishwam Brahmitum Rochate. You like to go around the world. Or you can say Tubhyam Parvataha Rochante. You like the mountains. Next, Yuvabhyam or Vam Vishwam Brahmitum Rochate. Yuvabhyam Parvataha Rochante. Yuvabhyam Ke Rochante. Yuvabhyam Parvataha Rochante. Uttamam. Kabhyam Parvataha Rochante. Yuvabhyam Parvataha Rochante. So, one thing that you can do is, as and when you acquire greater mastery of this table here especially, you can start introducing the different questions. You can start trying to play around with how you are applying this practice that we have here. Next, Yushmabhyam Vishwam Brahmitum Rochate. For all of you, you like to travel the world. And Yushmabhyam Parvataha Rochante. Uttamam. So lots of material in there. Practice it and you will enjoy perfecting it. Now let's look at the last case where we have the form of Yuvabhyam. So in the Tvaya, Tubhyam and Twat, so from you in the dual becomes Yuvabhyam. So let's put that in practice. We have Saha, Twat. We'll stick to Nindam here and we'll try and form the sentence with a negative. So Saha Twat Nindam na prapnoti. Saha Yuvabhyam Nindam na prapnoti. Saha Yushmat Nindam na prapnoti. Uttamam. Let's move on to Prapnuvanti. So Te Twat Nindam na prapnuvanti. They don't get criticized by you, singular. They or from you. So not by you in this case, it is from you. They don't get any criticism from you. The ablative, the fifth case. Te yuvabhyam nindam na prapnuvanti. And finally, te yushmat nindam na prapnuvanti. Moving on with the first person here. So aham twat nindam na prapnomi. Aham yuvabhyam nindam na prapnomi. Aham yushmat nindam na prapnomi. I don't get criticized by you. Next, the two of us. Avam twat nindam prapnuvaha. Okay, so you have to keep the prap here. So nomi gets replaced by nuvaha. So keep the prap part. So avam twat nindam na prapnuvaha. आवां युवाभ्यां निन्दां न प्राप्नुवः आवां युष्मत् निन्दां न प्राप्नुवः. And finally for the plural, vayam tvat nindam na prapnumah. Uttamam. Vayam yuvabhyam nindam na prapnumah. And finally, vayam yushmat nindam na prapnumah. Uttamam. So let's use the second one, and here I'll just take you through one lot of it and we'll just practice the verb after that. Okay. So here we have saha tvat adhikam or kinchit. Kinchit, we'll take the kinchit here because we've practiced with the adhikam before. So saha tvat kinchit shrunoti, he hears less than you. Saha yuvabhyam kinchit shrunoti. Saha yushmat kinchit shrunoti, he hears less than you. So here you see tvat adhikam means than. So this becomes a comparative, than you. Okay. So in this case, in the case of the adhikam. Alright. So moving on with te, it becomes shrinvanti. Te shrinvanti. Aham shrinomi. Aham shrinomi. And avam shrinvaha. So it can be shrinuvaha or shrinvaha. So let's say that again. Avam shrinuvaha or shrinvaha. Finally, vayam shrinumaha or shrinmaha. Vayam shrinmaha. Alright, now just to give you an exercise, how would you say in this thing, how would you say the two of us listen less than the two of you? That's much. So how would you phrase the two of us hear less than the two of you? Try that out in this what we've done. So here it is avam yuvabhyam. So avam yuvabhyam kinchit shrinuvaha. Uttamam. Now how would you say we hear less than the two of you? Vayam yuvabhyam kinchit shrinumaha or shrinmaha. Uttamam. So again, different ways of practicing this particular table. The other one is the comparative, where you see that you walk faster or slower. So it says, we'll stick to the saha here. So saha tvat shighram chalati, walks faster than you. And we had already looked at shighram before, sorry. So what we will do is we will take on the mandam in this case. So saha tvat mandam chalati, walks slower than you. Saha yuvabhyam mandam chalati. Next, saha yushmat mandam chalati. Now I'll give you an exercise here. So how would you say that he walks or he drives, which is chalayati, he drives slower than the two of you? How would you say that? Uttamam. Saha yuvabhyam mandam chalayati. How would you say she drives slower than the two of you? Yes? Sa yuvabhyam mandam chalayati. So how would you say how would you say I work slower than the two of you? How would you say that? Uttamam. Aham yuvabhyam mandam karyam karo mi. Uttamam, because you start with aham. So you have that now? Yes? So that's how you can apply it in different contexts with translations. Let's see the next case. In the previous case of shighram and mandam, we had seen that they were adverbs to the verbs, the different verbs chalati, chalayati, karyam, karoti. Next, we can also use this for the adjectives, where it is saha, tvat, sthulaha or krishaha, and we will stick to krisha because we've already looked at sthulaha. So saha, tvat, krishaha asti. Next, saha yuvabhyam krishaha asti. Finally, saha yushmat krishaha asti. Uttamam. And you can put that in the plural, so it becomes te. Now I'll give you an example. I will give you a sentence and you translate it for me. You find it out in this. So they are thinner than the two of you. How would you say that? They are thinner than the two of you. Try and identify that sentence here. Alright, let's try that out. So, they are they. So, they, I'll just put a number so that we can follow it. They are. So, they are. So, what will be the verb? So, immediately put your thing on the verb. Sorry. They are, and then they are thinner. So, they are thinner. So, it's in the plural, and therefore, it will be thinner than the two of you. So, the two of you will be yuvabhyam. So, te yuvabhyam krishaha santi. But I have given you that order to help you trace back how it goes. Okay. So, te yuvabhyam krishaha santi. But the logic is you find the subject, you find the subject here, then you find the verb that will go with it, then you find the adjective, and then you find the number, the comparative number there. Okay. So, one last one I would like you to do is, we two are thinner than you two. So, immediately who is the we two, which is the subject here? Avam. So, this is one here. So, let me make this one easier for you. I will just indicate this with a star. Okay. So, avam, that's the subject, and we are thinner. So, let's go through the verb first. So, what will be the verb with avam? Swaha. And because the two of us are thinner, so it will have to be in the dual, the adjective. So, krishau, and then the two of you. So, it will also get this yuvabhyam. So, avam yuvabhyam krishau swaha. Uttamam. So, you're getting a hang of how to apply it in this case. So, let's move on to the last two cases that are there, which get the same form, yuvayoho. So, we have the sixth and the seventh tava or tvai, and which becomes yuvayoho, of the two of you. So, let's do it here. We'll do it with the pronoun sa instead of saha. So, sa tava or te kalyanam ichhati. Follow the cursor. Sa yuvayoho kalyanam ichhati, and finally sa yushmakam kalyanam ichhati. Now, let's go on to the second line here. So, we'll do just the second one. Knows, janati means knows, and knows whom? Adhyapakam, the teacher, adhyapakam in the singular, or adhyapakan, masculine teachers here, adhyapakan janati. So, sa tava adhyapakan janati, sa yuvayoho adhyapakan janati, finally sa yushmakam adhyapakan janati. Uttamam. So, what we'll do next is we'll just practice the verb forms here. And how do we do that? We'll do it with each of them there. So, tava or te adhyapakan janati, and then the green goes with the green, and we'll use next the form of the dual case. So, we'll do te yuvayoho adhyapakan jananti, not jananti, janati, but jananti. Next, aham yuvayoho adhyapakan janami. Next, avam yuvayoho. So, the two of us, yuvayoho adhyapakan janivaha. Finally, vayam yuvayoho adhyapakan janimaha. Astu, is that clear? Moving on, we have krite karyam karishyati or krite karyam dasyati. Will give work, will do work for you, or will give work to you, dasyati. So, we see that dasyati is normally takes the dative form, but because we are using krite here, it will be an equivalent of that, and the krite goes with the genitive or the sixth case. So, sa tava krite karyam karishyati or dasyati, sa yuvayoho krite karyam karishyati or dasyati. Finally, sa yushmakam krite karyam karishyati or dasyati. Uttamam. Moving on, I'd like you to do this in the past tense. So, samapitavan. in the simplified past. Because it's one, I can't start with sa. If I start with sa, it will become vati. So, sa tava or te chitram samapita vati. Finish the picture. Next, sa yuvayoho chitram samapita vati. Finally, sa yushmakam chitram samapita vati. Uttamam. Go on to the next one here, where you have Janakaha ambasaha khadati. So, khadati will allow us to do it with sa. So, sa tava. So, sense of belonging. Janakena or ambaya saha khadati. Sa yuvayoho or vam janakena ambaya saha khadati. Sa yushmakam or vaha janakena ambaya saha khadati. And then of course you have the option of conjugating it differently with the different pronouns that we have there. And the final one in this table is karyalayam avashyam agamishyati, will definitely come to the office. Whose office? So, sa tava karyalayam avashyam agamishyati. Sa yuvayoho karyalayam avashyam agamishyati. Finally, sa yushmakam karyalayam avashyam agamishyati. Uttamam. So, just a last exercise for you there. How would you say that the two of us go to the two of your office definitely? The two of us will come to the two of yours office definitely. How would you say that? Got it? So, subject, the two of us, avam. Next, what would you say here? Agamish, agamishyavaha. Okay, agamishyavaha. We will come. We, the two, so the verb has to go with it. With the to the office of the two of you, yuvayoho. So this is also this, yuvayoho karyalayam avashyam. So we have that there. So avam yuvayoho karyalayam avashyam agamishyavaha. Uttavam. Let's move on to the final lesson here. So we have saha. Saha, we'll take with saha only. Saha tvai vishwasam karoti. Saha yuvayoho, in the two of you, vishwasam karoti. Saha yushmasu vishwasam karoti. And then tvam yuvayoho or tvai vishwasam karoshi, and you have the other forms, and aham tvai vishwasam karomi, and you have the other forms there. Now the other brown that we have, we've already looked at. It will be tasya tvai vishwasaha asti. He has faith in you. So his faith is in you. Literally it means that. Next, tasya yuvayoho vishwasa, or let's take pritihi asti. Next, tasya yushmasu pritihi asti. Uttamam. And the final one is in you these qualities are there. So what I would propose we do is we will just do the practice with yuvayoho, because you can do the practice otherwise by yourself as well. But because this is an exercise around yuvayoho, let's put that into practice. So in the two of you there is compassion. Say that. Yuvayoho daya asti or nasti. Not there. I hope it is more of the asti rather than the nasti. Next, yuvayoho bhayam asti or nasti? Nasti. Uttamam. Yuvayoho bhayam nasti. Next, good qualities. So sadgunaha santi. Okay, because it is a plural there. So yuvayoho sadgunaha santi. Uttamam. And bad qualities? Yuvayoho durgunaha na santi. Astu. So that is how you can practice within and practice it with the other forms as well that you have here. Okay, so now let's put that all together. And what do we say? We'll just do the central line there. It has yuvam. So yuvam yuvam, yuvabhyam, 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 yuvayoho, yuvayoho. Okay, so we have the other ones there that we've already been looking at. So what I'll do next is just give you a sound with the avam. What did we have with avam? Avam, avam, avabhyam, 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 avayoho, avayoho. Now let's put the two of them side by side and see what happens. So it's the middle column there. So avam, the two of us, becomes yuvam. Now the beauty of this language is really the auditory nature of this language, that you can catch a lot of its logic listening to it and speaking it out. So therefore practice sambhashanam kurvantu kurvantu shrutva shrutva bhashayaha vyakaranasya shighram pathanam bhavishyati. So use this a lot, speak it out, and with that you will also hasten your study of the grammar of this language. So avam becomes yuvam. Next, so avam, avam, yuvam, yuvam. So avam, avam, yuvam, yuvam. Then avab, avabhyam, avabhyam, avabhyam. And for the other it becomes yuvabhyam, yuvabhyam, yuvabhyam. Then avayoho, avayoho. And for you it will be yuvayoho, yuvayoho. Uttamam. So I think if you've said that long enough, you will be familiar with it. What we will do next is go back to our conversation, and this time I really invite you to pay attention to see if you can start answering the questions as I have this conversation with Piyush. Harihi Om Piyusha. Pariksha katham asit or katham abhavat? Esha ka?
नमस्ते आर्ये परीक्षा सम्यक् अभवत् एषा मम सहपाठिनी दोलन अस्ति
युवां परीक्षायाः परं कुत्र गमिष्यथः
आवां परीक्षायाः परं सप्तदिवसीय संस्कृतशिबिरं कर्तुं संस्कृतभारतीं गमिष्यावः
संस्कृतशिबिरं कुत्र भविष्यति
तत् बेङ्गलूरुनगरे भविष्यति
तद् विषये युवां कः उक्तवान्
तत् विषये आवयोः शिक्षकः आवाम् उक्तवान्
युवाभ्यां सह युवयोः पितरौ अपि गमिष्यतः किम्
आम् आवाभ्यां सह आवयोः पितरौ अपि गमिष्यतः
उत्तमम् संस्कृतभारती संस्कृतशिबिराय युवाभ्यां कति रूप्यकाणि गृहीतवती
सा संस्था आवाभ्यां केवलं 700 रूप्यकाणि गृहीतवती
शिबिरकाले ते युवाभ्यां सर्वं दास्यन्ति किम्
आम् ते शिबिरकाले सर्वं प्रयोजनीयं द्रव्यं तथा पुस्तकं वासं भोजनं सर्वं प्रयोजनीयं द्रव्यम् आवाभ्यां दास्यन्ति
उत्तमम् युवयोः किं संस्कृतानुरागः अस्ति
आम् अवश्यम् आवयोः संस्कृतानुरागः बहु अस्ति
उत्तमम् बहु धन्यवादः शुभमस्तु
शुभमस्तु धन्यवादः
So I hope you were able to follow along with the conversation, and since you're already familiar with it, I hope you were especially being able to catch the application of the dual forms with the first and second persons. This was like a summary of what we have been doing in these past few lessons. So let's look at an application of what we have learnt in a verse from the Gita. So this is from the last chapter, at the end of that chapter as well, where Krishna has given his entire teaching, and Arjuna, the dejected Arjuna, has finally understood why he needs to fight for the sake of truth. So he says, so the verse says, Arjuna uvacha nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadan maya chuta Sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So he says that Arjuna says, destroyed is my delusion. So remember that. So here we have nashto will become nashtaha. Okay, mohaha smritir labdha. So smritihi labdha means I have got back my memory. So actually this is smritihi labdha. I have got back my memory. Tvat prasadat. So tvat prasadat, I will just do that for you better. Tvat is one word, from you. Prasadat maya achyuta. So maya achyuta is also a combination here. Maya plus achyuta. Maya achyutaha. Maya achyuta. Okay, so by your grace, Achyuta, O Krishna, or O infallible one. Alright, then he says Sthitosmi. Do you recognize that form of writing? It means it is a combination of Sthitaha plus Asmi. Gata Sandeha, all my Sthitaha Asmi, I am standing or I am situated. Gata Sandeha, gone are my doubts. Karishye, I will do. Vachanam Tava. Okay, so we've looked at karishyami. Here you have a form which is karishye here, and this is another kind of a conjugation which we will look at down the line. So karishye vachanam tava. So Arjuna said, destroyed is my delusion. I have regained my memory through thy grace, O infallible one. I am firm, dispelled are my doubts. I will act according to thy word. So I would like you to say it after me. So Arjuna uvacha nashto moha smritir labdha. I'll repeat that. Nashto moha smritir labdha. Tvat prasadan mayachyuta. Sthito sigata sandeha. Karishye vachanam tava. So in this case we see that there is a usage of the second person in the singular. So if I was just wanting to play this with you and say, supposing you wanted to make the dual of tvat, it would be tvat from you would be yuvabhyam. Okay, and because it is prasada, what you will have to do is you don't put a thing and you put a dot on top there. And then the other one was tvat prasadan, and then you have tava, your. So what was it for tava? Is yuvayoho. Yuvayoho. Alright, so yuvayoho is of the two of you. It doesn't fit into the context. I just wanted to see how we can apply the grammar of the singular and the dual here. Astu. So just to close here, we see that at the end of the Gita, after Arjuna started out with this great despondency and depression that how can I do this, this terrible act, and Krishna shows him another perspective. So Krishna is actually one of the best counselors that we encounter in literature. At the end of that, he says that I am convinced that this is required for the greater good of this civilization of mankind, and therefore he says, I am ready to do I've regained my balance and now I will do as you bid. So about the power of the Gita, Henry Davis Thoreau, who's one of the most famous and one of the fathers in the sense of the American civilization, he says, in the morning I bathe my intellect in the stupendous cosmogonal philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, in comparison with which our modern world and its literature seem puny and trivial. So great minds who have spent their time, their energy in trying to understand the value and richness of what is there in our vast Sanskrit literature. So I hope these lessons are taking you a few steps deeper into your study of this language and giving you a little more access step by step into this vast treasure trove of Sanskrit literature. So with that, Shivamastu, Dhanyavadaha.